What's up, everyone? It's Broly Fan TTV here, and I know a lot of you guys may not know me since I mostly only do Twitch, but today I wanted to go ahead and talk about everything that's been happening with Ghoul recently. Also, I apologize for my voice. I'm a little sick, so I might sound a little off right now. But as some of you guys may really know, over the past few weeks, there's been a lot of rumors and drama going on with Ghoul, especially inside the Discord. Um, so I figured I would just go ahead and address my opinions on it and what I think this means for the future of Ghoul. Before I do start though, I do want to make something very clear. I'm not a part of HTH games. I'm not getting paid for them. I'm not working for them. I'm not speaking on their behalf. I'm just choosing to make my own video addressing what's going on and my own thoughts. So with all that said, let's go ahead and get started with it. So the biggest news that you guys may or may not have heard of if you're actively in their Discord is that HTH Games is now officially taken over Ghoul. That's a pretty massive change. The old developer studio, if I'm not wrong, was Dibs Studio, and I know they had a lot of drama recently in the past. But moving on from that, let's go ahead and talk about what it means for HTH Games taking over Ghoul. So they have actually promised that they would go ahead and do 2 updates weekly. So these next 2 weeks they would each do 1 update a week, and then they planned to go ahead and push out to bi-weekly updates. So it would be every 2 weeks we would get an update after that. Personally, I think this is a really good approach. I know a lot of people in the Discord have been upset because there was like no communication between the previous studio and the player base last time, it felt like. And this time it looks like they're trying to be very transparent with us and be very clear on what their goals are. Now though, I did want to circle back to the drama I mentioned earlier, and I kind of wanted to address that on my own. I know that if anybody here has been around the community for a little bit, especially within the Discord or faction Discords, you will know that there's been a lot of drama recently, a lot of documents made. I'm not gonna really do a deep dive into that because I have my own opinions. I'm gonna keep those private. But what I did want to address was some information I was given. So basically, I actually did talk with the owner of HTH Games, and from some info I got, they were very open about their values as a studio. They're very big on values like supporting human rights, LGBTQ plus communities, and organizations helping with homelessness. So I think these are all very good quality traits for a studio. I don't think they exactly speak about how good they are at their games. But that did actually bring me to asking about that. So I was able to see a portfolio with a lot of other games they've worked on, and I'll go ahead and link that down below in the description so you guys can check it out. But I would beg to say that if all those games turned out that well, then I have some pretty good hope for this studio taking over Ghoul. I think it's a different field from what they're used to working in, different genre, but I feel like if they listen to the community and they actually take advice of what we think is wrong, then the game could make a very big comeback. But really, just to wrap things up, I did want to go over a few of my thoughts on it, my opinions to it all in general. I do think taking over a project like Ghoul isn't going to be easy. I do really feel it was actually in a dying state before they came along. The player count had dropped heavily. A lot of people just weren't satisfied with the game. So really, I think the community in general has very high expectations. I do know there's a big group of people that want this game to make a comeback, And then sadly, there's a big group of people who've just quit the game overall. They're done with it, and I feel like that's the consequences of having a community that didn't already care for what was happening. They didn't bother to listen to what was going on. But to me, none of the drama really matters as long as the game starts getting better. I just really want these updates to be pushed out consistently, which they said they're going to do. So I'm hoping that gets good. I'm hoping that they take account for fixing all of the previous bugs, pushing out some good lore accurate content, being very communicative with the community, stuff like that. I think that's going to be the stuff that determines whether HGH Games is successful in taking over this game or not. And if they could deliver on those things, I think eventually people will move past all the drama, past the game being bad on its previous re-release, and it might actually just start to become the community it was whenever the game first came out, when everybody was flocking to it, everybody was having fun with their friend groups, and I kind of want that to come back. I think that's very high expectations, but I have hope. I really do. But that's just my take on everything. I really do want to hear what everybody else thinks about this. So if you have any thoughts or opinions, just drop them in the comments below. I'll be reading over them later. And I kind of want to know, are you guys excited about HGH Games taking over? Do you think it will make a comeback for Ghoul? I personally think it will. I actually have a lot of hope. Maybe that's just me being very desperate because I love this game and I really want it to succeed. But that's all I really have for this video. If you found it helpful or you enjoyed the video, just make sure to like and subscribe. I go over a lot of this stuff on my Twitch, and that will be linked down below. So make sure to stop by if you want to see all of this stuff happen live and me going over all this stuff. I'll usually talk with the community, share my thoughts and opinions a little more in depth. But that's everything for now. So I hope everybody has a great day, and you guys all take care.